Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun.
Nick Collier here again, and we're ready to start on a new project. I have been, for the last couple of weeks, there's nothing walked in the door. I mean, it's midsummer, and sometimes it's that way during this period. And so I kind of had a plan to, while nothing was coming in, to go ahead and repair the deck on my house that the tree fell on a couple of years ago, and the deck is the last thing to repair on the house. And so went down there with Baptiste, and we tore apart the deck and found out how rotten it was, and so tore out all the rotten boards, put new boards in there, got it mostly back together, and this project walks in the door. Here's a picture of the deck in its state at this moment. So anyhow, this project walks in the door, and it's a pretty interesting one. Although I have no idea what this guy is making, I do know what I need to do. And we're going to rotate over here, and I'll show you what's going on. All right, so he wants to take, he's got two of these hubs, and obviously they're wheel hubs. He was kind of secretive about what he was doing, and that's okay with me. I'm totally used to that. But basically he wants me to take and adapt this hub and the other hub, which he didn't bring, it's the exact same thing, to a 2-foot long shaft. And so we're going to adapt that, and then at the same time put some sleeves inside of here and adapt these to that 2-foot long shaft, and put a keyway in there so that this can attach to the shaft. Now basically what this is a one-way, oops, almost lost it there, is a one-way clutch. And you can see how it kind of goes that way only. And so our job is to make all of this stuff work. We're going to start back in here with this component right here. Now luckily we don't have to put a spline in there. I mean, I can do a spline, but you know, give me a break. He just wants it to fit the shaft snugly, and then this part here goes on that, because he borrowed this from his buddy, and I'm using it as a master. So we've cut 2 blanks that are going to be the shape. Well, I'm not going to do that shape. He said, no, you don't have to do all this indent stuff. He said, just the holes and the measurements, and we're good. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and hey, stick with me. We're going to have some fun. Okay, so if we're going to reproduce this, the first thing, probably what I'm seeing I'm going to do is go ahead and do this backside first, and then I'll be able to turn this around and grab it and do all the front side. So let's get some calipers, get my glasses on, and I think what you should do is do a sketch of this whole thing so I don't have to fight it later. Alright, so basically what we're going to have is a step, a larger diameter, and then a smaller diameter here, and then a hole through the center, right? Oh, you're not seeing this, are you? Okay, anyhow, we got a basic sketch there. and my wife is trying to get my attention, so I'll be back. All right, so there's our measurement, or there's our basic sketch. And what's our measurements? Oh, take it back to 0. Yep, there we go. We've got 3,125. Three, 1, 2. Oops, the other way. 3.125. Let's just cross that out. 3 inches. Point 125. Okay. Now our outer measurement is pretty much random. So I'm thinking somewhere in that general area. We're at 540, and I think our metal is 4.5. So we're at 4.5. So we don't have to worry about that. We do want to worry about this shoulder here, which is 260. Point 260. Good. We're worried about our thickness of our bolt holes, which is 590. And our little boss sticking out here is 500. And it's kind of a random thing anyhow. And our hole size, he said, just ream out just beyond the spline. So we're going to take a measurement here. 1,260. Oh. 1,260 diameter. And that should get us started. Later on we'll come in and figure out our bolt holes, and I think we can pretty much just go from there. Well, I want to use the juice, but it's just flinging all over the place. So we're going to go back to oil. And first I've got to find my little tray of oil. I know I have several laying around here. All right. Let's do it again. Okay, we got this squared up. We're close to our size. Now what we want to do is come in and take a more accurate measurement. All right, so drop our piece in here, open our micrometer up until we reach that. Feels like about it. So how close are we? We're a ways off, at least 100 thousandths. So we're gonna go to, what's our size here? Three inches. 126. Well, that's pretty much what we came up with earlier. All right, so let's just take that down until we get closer. I think what we need to do is just let this calm down and cool off a bit. And I found that hitting it with the juice cools it off nice and quickly. We'll be back. Let's take our final measurement here. And we're looking at 3 inches, 125. And we want a nice slip fit on that. So let's put the hub on, do the final check. And that's a good slip fit. It's got just maybe a thousandths play in there. That's just about perfect. All right, so now we're going to bore a hole, and our hole size is, and I'm wondering if this is going to be a problem. No, I don't think it will be. We're just going to go flat straight across and bore a hole in it. So, and our hole size is 260. So 1 1/4 would be our obvious choice. Let's get a center drill in here. And we don't need a big one. Okay, so what do we got here? Our final measurement is 2, what is it? 1, 2, 50. I think we better bore it out just to, the hole size isn't critical because when we come back with the shaft, we're going to adjust the shaft to the hole, but having it square probably is pretty critical. So we're going to make it square. Okay. All right, that's pretty good. I think what we're going to do is take half of this off here so we have something to square up to just in case we need to. Although we've got this face here that we can square up to, but let's do it anyhow. Okay, so okay, so we've flipped our piece over, we've centered it, and we can take the dial indicator off, and we got it centered and squared up and ready to rip. So, kick it into gear. I think what I want to do is have a look at this bit for one. Now it still looks pretty good. And I'm going to just get a little bit of rotation on this. And we're ready to rock and roll here. Now what we need to do is come in. We've done the other side, now we need to do this side. So we're in the chuck that far. So we need to take this surface down to right there to this point. This little lip right there. And that should be fairly easy to do. Well, except this is pretty stout material and I can only take about 50 thousandths at a time. So we're gonna go ahead and whip it up and get rolling here. Yeah, I'm thinking my bit's gone bad here. Yeah, that tip's kind of worn out. Okay, let's give this one a try. Okay, so we've got our, let me get one of them. We've got our whole board, we've got our outside perimeters figured out. Now what we need to do is figure out where our bolt holes are. So what I did is I took a veneer caliper, and you know, they're bolt holes, so we don't have to be super tight accurate. And I measured between the splines, and it came out to 1/300. And now what I'm going to do is, and I found a transfer punch that's pretty tight, and since the weight is this way, I mean there's a little bit of slop, but since the weight is straight up and down, the transfer punch will find its center of gravity with the hole. Rather than go side to side, it's going to just flop straight down and be in exactly the position we want it to be in. At least one would hope. So then we go from the inside of our spline until we just begin to touch. There it is right there. See how the transfer punch is moving just a little bit? Okay, there we are. Okay, well, after much dicking around trying to calculate this thing, and I came up with the same measurements, but it never looked right. And so I'd go back and redo it, redo the measurements and check it out again, and it wouldn't look right. But I must have came up with the same measurement 5 times, and so I'm going to just trust that it's the right measurement. Well, not exactly trust. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this center, and I'm going to come in, and I have to come out 1 inch 988 thousandths, and then I'm going to put a dot, and then I'm going to rotate it, put another dot, rotate it, put another dot, and so on and so forth, and then take some measurements from that, see what we got. So we're going to go out 1 inch, so almost 2 inches from center. Takes us out to there. Well, that's not right. The hell are we talking about? Let's see how far it is out to that edge. One, two, oops. 1, 2, there's 0. 1, 2, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 1 inch. There's 1 inch. That looks pretty good. And there's 2, 4, 6, 8, and there's 9. What was our number? 988. 88. Still a bit wide. Okay, that's to the outside edge of that. So come back in 97 thousandths, I think. All right, there's our 0. All right, put that in the, and we are right on the money. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so let's come back to 0. Driller pilot. Okay, let's try this again. We've got 72 degrees. We want to go to 144 for our next hole. Wait a second. 72 degrees is our next hole. Okay. Okay, well at this point, because I don't have a stubby drill that's going to, that's the right size, and I can't take my table down anymore, at least I don't think I can. Nope, I cannot. I think what I'm going to have to do is go ahead and take this out. I've got my holes centered, everything's all set. So take this out, and then once I take the head off, drop it back down on the table, lock it in place, and just let the piece float while I drill the holes. And of course, if it's floating, it'll find its own center. So at this point, we're going to take. Let's go back to 0. First thing out. All right, we're starting in on our second piece. Okay, so we've got our 5 holes drilled in both pieces, and I think we'll just call it a day at this point. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to take this piece out. Let's go ahead and take it out and see what we've got. And if you'll notice, ouch, we're not going to take that piece out. It's hot. Here's the other one. And if you notice, there's only 3 holes that go all the way through.
no big deal. We'll come in, we'll re-drill these holes. They need to go like, another 20 thousandths bigger or so, and we'll find a drill for that. Probably we're going to have to make some kind of seat for this to sit on, because if we try to drill it with this, the whole thing's going to jump and cock. If we put it in like this and try to drill that one edge, it's going to bounce. Either that, or we could put a no, I want this to float, so yeah, we'll just come up with some sort of ring here that's going to give us some support, and then come in and re-drill those holes and then countersink them, and then after that we have to come in and put a keyway in, and I don't know what size keyway yet, because he didn't tell me how much pressure is going to go against this. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay, see you then.